Hello and welcome back to Enlighten Us, your easy path to learning Arabic. Today you are joining us for lesson 17. We're going to be looking at the command fi'lul amr. Now in Arabic, when we talk about a fi'l, when we talk about a verb, there are three types. And we've actually looked at two already. Al-Madi, the past tense, and al-Mudari, the present. Today, we're going to be looking at al-Amr, the command. Now, before we delve deeper into the command, there is something to note. That even though the literal translation of al-Amr is command, this particular verb doesn't just refer to something that's essentially an order. Any sort of instruction or recommendation or even gentle encouragement would fall under the command verb umbrella. Right, let's have a look at an example. Now the astute among you will have noticed that for some reason we've gone back to the present tense. We've gone back to al-fi'l al-mudari. You will have also noticed that our third person, so يخرج, تخرجان, تخرجون, تخرجوا, تخرجان, تخرجن, is greyed out, as is our first person, أخرج, نخرج, and نخرج. And that's because, just logically, it's quite difficult to give an instruction or to tell somebody what to do if they're not in the room, if they're not present, if they're not there. So that means the third person is out. Similarly, you're not going to give an instruction or an order or tell yourself what to do. So again, the first person is out. What you might think is, well, maybe you do tell yourself what to do. You probably speak to yourself in the second person. The other thing to notice or to note is that, of course, the command is derived from the present tense. See how this works. So we go from أنت تخرج, أنتما تخرجان, أنتم تخرجون, أنت تخرجين, أنتما تخرجان, أنتن تخرجن, to أنت أخرج, أنتما أخرجا, أنتم أخرجوا, أنت أخرجي, أنتما أخرجا, أنتن أخرجن. And now let's see how we came about, or let's have a look at the process of how these second set of verbs came about. So there are a number of steps. The first one is to remove the tat. Remove the tat that denotes that it's the present tense. The second step, where it's needed, add an alif. And in terms of the harakat, in terms of the accent that we give this alif, this will depend on the second to last letter. It's worth noting here, when we're talking about the second to last letter, we are talking about the root letters in the verb only. So we're not talking about the letters that denote the pronoun. And I'll explain this a little bit more when we have a look at the examples. And then there's the third step. Now this third step actually differs among the 6 verbs that we just saw. So in the first case, where you have the masculine singular verb, you replace the ending dhamma, you replace the dhamma on the end with a sukoon. However, where you have the feminine singular, the feminine or masculine dual, or the masculine plural, you remove the noon. And with the feminine plural, there's actually no change to the end. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this in practice. So we have تخرج, you go out. And this is, of course, our masculine singular. But what if we wanted to give this as an instruction? What if we wanted to say, go out? اخرج, you go out. Well, this is our end result. Let's see if it meets the criteria. So if you remember, our first step was to remove the ta. Indeed, the ta is absent from our fi'l al-amr. Add an alif. We've indeed added an alif. If you remember, we said it would need to be required, it would need to be necessary to add an alif, and in this case it is, and the reason for that is that when we remove the ta, what we're left with is the kha with a sukoon. Now it's very difficult to pronounce, and for that reason we put an alif in. How do we make a decision about the haraka? Well, we look at the second to last letter, which is quite clearly the ra. The ra has a dhamma, so our alif has a dhamma. And lastly, if you remember, for the masculine singular, what it ends in a sukoon. So we've got rid of the dhamma and we've replaced it with a sukoon. Let's have a look at some of our other verbs. Now, if you remember, for تخرجين, تخرجان, تخرجون, so this is our feminine singular, this is our masculine and feminine dual, and this is our masculine plural. So تخرجين is you go out, specifically when you're addressing a female. تخرجان, this could be two females, or it could be two males or a female and a male. And تخرجون, this could be a group, so three or more males, or a mix, males and females, but three or more. Well, what if you wanted to tell them, what if you wanted to give them an instruction to go out? Well, تخرجين would be اخرجي, تخرجان اخرجا, and تخرجون اخرجوا. Let's have a look and see if it fits in with the process that we talked about. So we said the first thing is to remove the ta, and if you notice in each example, that's indeed what's happened. The ta has been gotten rid of. We said add an alif, and indeed we've added an alif. Same as before, the second letter has a sukoon, which makes it difficult to read, so that's our kha in each case. So we've added, we find adding the alif is necessary, and then we've given it a dhamma because the second to last letter has a dhamma. Now, of course, you might be looking at this and wondering, well, no, the second to last letter in this word is the ya. The second to last letter here is the alif. The second to last letter is the waw. Well, this is where I meant when I said that we're focusing on the root letters only. Our root letters here are kha, ra, and jim. If you remember, yakhruju was our present tense, and the past tense would be kharaja, so the kha, the ra, and the jim. That would be our roots. The ya and the noon, the alif and the noon, and the waw and the noon, in each case are actually denoting the pronoun, are actually denoting the doer. So in this case we know that it's she, singular. In this case we know that it's they, dual, and here we know it's they, masculine, and three or more plural. And lastly, we said for the feminine singular, the feminine dual, the masculine dual, and the masculine plural, remove the noun, and in each case that's exactly what's happened. Let's have a look at our last example. Now we have takhrujna. Now this is if you were speaking about a group, so three or more of females. But what if you wanted to give them an instruction? We'd say ukhrujna. Now let's have a look and see if it's followed the process. Remove the ta. Indeed, we've removed the ta. We've added an alif. Again, same logic here. The kha has a sukoon, makes it difficult to read, so we've had to add an alif. The alif has a dhamma, again because the second to last letter has a dhamma. And again, the noon here denotes the pronoun. The noon here denotes the doer, that it's they, and they specifically a group of females. And lastly, for the feminine plural, there is actually no change to the end. We don't change the harakat, we don't remove anything. It remains the same. Okay. Now we know with تخرج, it becomes أخرج. The alif carries a dhamma. We know the alif carries the dhamma because the ra has a dhamma. But what if the second to last letter of the root didn't have a dhamma? So we have terkebu. Terkebu, you climb or you ride or you board. Taghsilu, you wash. You'll notice here the second to last letter. The kaf has a fatha. You'll notice here the second to last letter, the sin, has a kasra. Well, terkebu, irkab. So if you wanted to give someone the instruction to board your car, for instance, to climb into your car, irkab. Or if you wanted to tell someone to wash something, اغسل. Well, what do you notice? The alif carries a kasra when the second to last letter carries either a fatha or a kasra. So irrespective of whether you have a fatha or whether you have a kasra, your alif, in this case, in both cases, is going to have a kasra. Let's have a look at another anomaly. Now we've spoken about where you need an alif, but where do you not need an alif? So we have تتعلم, which means you learn, specifically addressing singular masculine. What if you wanted to give him an instruction to learn? تعلم, learn this. Well, what you'll notice is that when you remove the ta, because remember that's our first step, you're actually left with a letter has a fatha. It doesn't have a sukun, it's not difficult to read. So the alif, quite simply, it's not required, so we don't include it. You've come to the end of our lesson. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And of course, check out the description box for additional resources. See you in the next one, inshallah.